I am not Brazilian, nor do I understand Portuguese. But the beauty of music is that it's ultimately a universal language. And from this, I'd like to take the opportunity to tell you a story. A story of a 16-year-old artist. A story of a boy named Jan Lu. Born Vinicius Marquez, he was the child of intellectuals and would spend his very first couple years of life in France. By the age of 10, now back in Porto Alegre, Brazil, he could speak Welsh and Spanish and was already learning English. He could play piano, drums, and guitar. Like many teens in the mid-2000s, he was very active online, especially in forums and chat rooms. And in the background of all of this, he would spend his free time writing and experimenting with a variety of music and styles in his room. Like many people, especially teens, Jan Lu battled depression, and it wasn't a fight that he would ultimately win. Yet, from the darkness and the pain, Jan Lu would continue to craft these meticulously beautiful tunes in his room. From the lyrics, it's quite hard to picture a 16-year-old boy. I mean, in my humble opinion, he stands amongst the greats, such as Nick Drake, Van Gogh, or Townes Van Zandt. After his death, his parents would find a series of songs that he wrote and recorded onto his computer. His father was determined to make the world hear his son's voice, and he did. A small Brazilian label would compile his songs onto an album, and once it was sent into the airwaves, it would spiral from there. Talking Heads frontman David Byrne would hear the album and would re-release it to a wider audience. In the decade and a half or so since Jan Lu died, his legacy is still not complete. His songs still find an audience, and even a movie was made about him in 2017. While there is a certain element of tragedy in Jan Lu's life, there's also a certain level of triumph. To me, the loss of Jan Lu is more than the mourning of a person, but the mourning of what more he could have done. But as a musician myself, I have to wonder, did Jan Lu ever think that his music would be so loved that years and years after he himself had left the world behind, that his soul would continue to flutter around and broadcast his beautiful music everywhere? I have to imagine that as long as his songs live on, Jan Lu will live. Not as a 16-year-old with struggles, but as an artist, a genius before his time, with the resounding question, not what he could have done, but an appreciation and a great gratitude for all that he left us. May his memory always be a blessing, and may we continue to cherish what he left for us for many years to come. Thank you.